The car stopped, leaving two children stranded. Heat pressed down on the dusty road. Henry held Sophia's trembling little hand tightly. A black Rolls-Royce slowed beside them. A suited man stepped out silently. Watching, he removed sunglasses, revealing deep, serious eyes. Henry felt fear slide coldly down spine. Sophia stepped back, pressing against the burning pole. The stranger crouched slowly to their height. His face softened, seeing their frightened expressions. He asked gently how long they waited. Henry whispered, "Hours passed without anyone returning." The man inspected their worn-patched bags. The broken suitcase tied with string worried him. He asked if they were traveling somewhere. Henry confessed their parents abandoned them completely today. Sophia repeated, "They were called burdens repeatedly before." The man's eyes darkened, hearing their painful truth. He asked if any relatives remained alive. Henry said their grandmother died 5 months earlier. The man sighed deeply, understanding their terrible situation. He asked softly if they had eaten. Both shook heads, stomachs aching with hunger. He brought cold water and foil-wrapped sandwiches. They ate slowly, feeling life returning again. The sun dipped lower, making shadows stretch long. He asked their names with warm sincerity. Henry and Sophia introduced themselves quietly, nervously. He smiled gently and said, "He's Thomas." Thomas declared he couldn't leave them there. Fear flickered, but safety felt possible suddenly. Henry agreed after seeing Sophia subtly nod. Thomas placed their bags carefully inside car. The cool leather seats felt heavenly comfortable. The car moved smoothly toward the distant city. Henry stared out, watching fields slowly shrink. Thomas asked about their parents' anger lately. Henry revealed long months of hunger and neglect. Sophia cried softly, remembering their mother's bitterness. Thomas listened seriously, eyes soft yet troubled. The car entered a wealthy, peaceful neighborhood. A tall iron gate opened automatically for them. A huge house appeared beyond trimmed green gardens. Thomas promised they were completely safe now. A maid, Mrs. Beatrice, greeted them surprised. She softened, seeing dust covering their faces. Guest rooms upstairs were prepared immediately for them. Sophia received a soft pink decorated bedroom. Henry's room connected secretly through hidden door. Both felt less scared knowing they weren't separated. Beatrice brought towels and clean clothes gently. Henry showered, washing fear and dirt away. Sophia emerged calmer, wearing a simple dress. They followed warm smells from the busy kitchen. Beatrice served hearty soup, rich with vegetables. Henry ate quickly, stomach growling with relief. Sophia finished 3 bowls without hesitation tonight. Thomas watched, ensuring they felt truly safe. He said, "Rest first, talk tomorrow morning." They watched cartoons together in a quiet room. Sophia held Henry's arm tightly all evening. Later they slept in crisp, soft sheets. Sophia whispered, asking if Thomas was angelic. Henry stared, sealing unsure what to believe. Morning sunlight woke them gently through sheer curtains. Beatrice brought fresh clothes and invited breakfast. Thomas greeted them warmly with a smile. The table overflowed with bread, fruit, cakes. Henry thanked him respectfully for kindness shown. Thomas insisted thanks were unnecessary right now. After breakfast, they followed him to office. Thomas asked calmly about their painful childhood experiences. Henry explained hunger, neglect, loneliness after grandmother's death. Parents yelled daily and barely provided food. Thomas listened quietly, jaw tightening with anger. He asked if they wanted parents contacted. Henry refused instantly, unable to forgive abandonment. Thomas suggested temporary guardianship as safer solution. Sophia agreed fearfully, but hopefully beside Henry. Henry accepted, heart shaking with nervous hope. Thomas promised to fight bureaucracy for them. They toured house, discovering rooms filled beautifully. Sophia giggled, seeing a large, cozy library. Henry felt strange comfort walking through quiet halls. Beatrice treated them gently despite stern appearance. Dinner was lasagna baked perfectly with care. They slept that night feeling strangely protected. Days passed filled with meetings and paperwork. Social workers questioned them carefully about everything. Thomas defended them firmly whenever necessary. Confidently, Beatrice baked cookies, teaching Sophia small chores. Henry remembered grandmother's kitchen warmth, painfully sweetly. Thomas made time daily to check homework. He asked about school interests and dreams. They visited a nearby park on weekends. Henry slowly trusted Thomas more each day. Sophia began smiling naturally without fear. 2 weeks later, Thomas called them downstairs. Papers spread across his desk revealed guardianship approval. They could stay legally for 6 months. Adoption discussions would begin if they wished. Sophia shouted excitedly, hugging Thomas, instantly crying. Henry felt relief like lifting heavy mountains. Thomas hugged them both, proudly and gently. Life settled into routines, filled with peace. They enrolled in a nearby private school. Teachers treated them kindly and encouragingly always. Thomas attended every meeting and event, gladly. Beatrice stopped, seeming strict. She softened beautifully. Sophia learned baking cookies with perfect precision. Henry studied hard, finally believing in himself. Thomas filled evenings with stories and cartoons. Weekends felt warm with laughter and games. Months later, Thomas asked him a serious question. He wanted to pursue their permanent adoption process. Sophia cried again, saying yes, immediately excited. Henry agreed, heart full of overwhelming gratitude. More meetings followed, but felt easier together. Social workers observed genuine love between them. Adoption moved forward steadily without major obstacles. Thomas supported them through stressful interviews tirelessly. Henry began calling Thomas Dad one night. Thomas froze, then hugged him tightly, crying. Sophia already called him Uncle lovingly before. School improved as confidence grew inside them. Henry made friends for the first time. Sophia joined art club, learning, sketching skillfully. Thomas encouraged every interest without any hesitation. House filled gradually with posters and drawings. Beatrice saved each one in labeled boxers. They celebrated holidays together for first time. Snowfall felt magical with warm, glowing windows. Thomas bought them matching winter jackets proudly. Henry smiled, seeing Sophia finally carefree again. A judge scheduled final adoption hearings soon. Everyone prepared clothes, excited for special moment. Henry felt nervous, but mostly unbelievably happy. Courtroom felt intimidating, yet strangely peaceful too. Judge reviewed documents and questioned them briefly. Thomas held their shoulders gently, reassuringly throughout. Judge approved adoption, granting Thomas full parenthood. Sophia sobbed loudly, hugging Thomas, nearly breathless. Henry cried silently, overwhelmed with gratitude inside. They celebrated at home afterward with cake. A family topper sat proudly in icing. Thomas gifted them new ID cards together. Henry saw Thomas's name printed under Father. He held it tightly, feeling life completed. Sophia kept her certificate beside her bed. Life blossomed quickly after adoption was finalized. Henry joined soccer team, building confidence socially. Thomas attended matches, cheering louder than everyone. Sophia joined choir and sang beautifully often. Thomas recorded every performance on his phone. They built new memories, replacing painful ones. Evenings were filled with movies and laughter. Weekends meant pancakes and games around kitchen. The house felt alive with genuine warmth. Henry no longer feared nights or silence. Sophia stopped waking from nightmares, trembling. Their world finally felt safe and whole. One winter night, Henry found Thomas awake. He sat alone, staring at fireplace quietly. Henry approached, asking why he looked sad. Thomas shared painful past as abandoned child. He lived in orphanage after losing mother. He worked hard building life from nothing. He always wished family would someday choose him. Finding Henry and Sophia changed everything instantly. Henry realized Thomas needed them equally too. They saved each other unknowingly that day. Thomas said house felt alive after them. Henry promised he'd never leave him alone. Night deepened, but hearts felt incredibly lighter. Snow fell outside, softly coating quiet streets. Thomas placed blankets over sleeping children tenderly. The house glowed with warmth and belonging. Henry felt future finally bright and reachable. Sophia dreamed peacefully without any lingering fear. Their new family story had truly begun. Months passed, bringing calm stability to their lives. Thomas supported them through school challenges, patiently, always. Henry grew confident in studies and friendships. Sophia blossomed quickly into a talented artist. Beatrice proudly displayed Sophia's drawings in hallways. Henry helped Thomas organize books every weekend. The family strengthened through routines and laughter. They lived peacefully without fear or uncertainty. Then an unexpected letter arrived one afternoon. Thomas returned, pale, holding envelope addressed carefully. Henry recognized handwriting belonging to their mother. Sophia froze immediately, feeling memories flooding painfully. Thomas's decision belonged entirely to them. Henry opened the letter, despite anger and confusion. Their mother wrote regrets about abandoning them. She claimed circumstances overwhelmed both parents deeply. She begged forgiveness, hoping to reconnect eventually. Henry read slowly, feeling anger rising again. Sophia cried, saying they didn't deserve pain. Thomas comforted them with steady, gentle reassurance. He explained forgiveness wasn't obligatory or expected. They could choose whatever felt healthiest emotionally. Henry decided they needed proper closure, finally. He suggested writing a clear, honest response. Sophia agreed, wanting their voices firmly heard. They wrote 3 pages describing abandonment trauma. They told truth about fear, hunger, loneliness. They explained Thomas gave love they never received. They ended a letter requesting no further contact. They mailed it, feeling lighter and stronger. Weeks passed without receiving any reply back. Life gradually settled again into peaceful rhythm. Henry excelled, academically aiming for medical school. Sophia sold small artworks in weekend markets. Thomas proudly attended every small achievement ceremony. Henry's acceptance letter arrived senior year morning. He screamed joyfully, waking everyone in-house. Thomas hugged him tightly, whispering proud words. Sophia cheered loudly, spitting around dining room. Beatrice baked celebratory cookies covered in sprinkles. Henry began pre-med classes with strong determination. Thomas helped with fees, insisting education mattered. Sophia painted beautiful gifts for Henry's dorm. The house felt different when Henry left. Thomas drove him to campus, solemnly smiling. He reminded Henry to call every evening. Sophia cried, hugging Henry tightly, not letting Henry promise visits whenever classes allowed travel. College life challenged him emotionally and academically. Still, Thomas guided him through every obstacle. Sophia mailed drawings to brighten Henry's dorm. On weekends, Henry returned home for rest. The family shared pizza nights joyfully again. Thomas saved every small success Henry achieved. Eventually, Henry applied to medical school bravely. Acceptance came unexpectedly late evening in June. Thomas hugged him immediately with tearful pride. Sophia shouted that he'd become best doctor. The next years moved fast and demanding. Medical school consumed Henry completely, many nights. Thomas listened patiently to his exhaustion stories. Sophia supported him, sending encouraging handmade notes. Breaks felt precious whenever Henry returned home. Thomas cooked large meals to feed him. They walked around neighborhood discussing future dreams. Henry always returned to school feeling motivated. One night, theme of family resurfaced unexpectedly. Henry asked Thomas why he'd stopped driving. Thomas answered honestly, explaining dangerous business meeting stress. He admitted life felt empty before children. Finding Henry and Sophia healed forgotten wounds. Henry realized again Thomas saved them all. Years passed until Henry reached final semester. His confidence grew seeing children in hospitals. He found passion working in pediatric department. Thomas said he'd always seen that gift. Sophia completed art courses and opened studio. She named it Lantern Road, honoring memory. Thomas attended her opening night, proudly smiling. Her work sold quickly, attracting multiple admirers. The siblings celebrated successes together every month. Thomas aged slowly, but remained joyful daily. Then tragedy returned during Henry's last semester. Beatrice called, saying Thomas collapsed suddenly today. Henry rushed home, panicked, heart pounding violently. He found Thomas hospitalized, weak but conscious. Doctors warned mild heart attack required surgery. Sophia cried, clinging tightly to Henry, trembling. Henry stayed overnight, monitoring father's vitals tearfully. Thomas tried comforting them despite personal exhaustion. He apologized for hiding symptoms from family. Henry insisted they'd face everything together now. Surgery scheduled 2 days after his arrival. Those hours felt unbearably slow and suffocating. Henry prayed silently, gripping chair, hopelessly anxious. Sophia whispered positive hopes through trembling breath. Thomas reassured them, smiling weakly before surgery. They waited 6 hours outside operation room. Finally, surgeon emerged smiling with exhausted relief. Surgery succeeded, though recovery would require caution. Henry nearly collapsed from emotional, overwhelming relief. Sophia hugged him tightly, thanking God repeatedly. Thomas rested in recovery room, peacefully sleeping. They stayed beside him, whispering comforting words. Recovery took weeks of patience and discipline. Thomas adapted slowly to new physical limitations. Henry stayed home, helping every small task. Sophia visited daily, bringing warm homemade meals. Beatrice ensured house stayed calm and welcoming. Gradually, Thomas regained strength, walking small distances. Soon he returned home permanently with support. Henry postponed school briefly to help recovery. They spent nights talking about fragile life. Thomas admitted fear of leaving them behind. Henry assured they'd stick together, always forever. Soon Henry graduated proudly with Thomas attending. Sophia cried loudly during ceremony from joy. The family celebrated with dinner and laughter. Thomas gifted Henry a vintage, meaningful watch. Henry promised to wear it during residency. Residency demanded strength, patience, long night shifts. Thomas often called, reminding him to rest. Sophia mailed drawings cheering him through exhaustion. Henry grew respected for empathy with children. Then he met Camille during hospital shift. She was gentle, smart, and hard-working, constantly. Henry felt calmness whenever she smiled warmly. They became close, sharing coffee and stories. Henry told family. Sophia screamed in excitement. Thomas smiled, saying she sounded truly special. Months later, he introduced Camille at home. Beatrice cooked feast, welcoming her with affection. Thomas admired her kindness and careful listening. Sophia instantly adored her bright, warm personality. Camille fit into family almost immediately. A year later, Henry proposed to her. Camille happily said yes, with joyful tears. Thomas hugged them both tightly, with pride. Sophia planned wedding decorations enthusiastically with energy. Preparations filled house with excitement and laughter. Thomas grew emotional looking at grown children. He helped Henry choose suit and ring. Wedding day arrived bright with perfect weather. Garden decorated beautifully with flowers and lights. Thomas stood proudly beside Henry as best man. Camille walked down aisle, smiling through tears. Sophia gave emotional speech praising chosen family. Thomas also spoke about love and destiny. Everyone cried hearing their incredible family story. Henry and Camille married under golden evening sky. Celebration-filled night with dancing and joy. After wedding, Henry returned to demanding fellowship. Family stayed connected through constant calls daily. Sophia visited, often sharing studio successes proudly. Thomas volunteered, helping troubled kids every week. Life moved forward peacefully for many months. Then another tragedy struck without warning again. Sophia called Henry, crying in absolute panic. Thomas had collapsed again during quiet afternoon. Doctors said heart attack was far worse. Henry flew home immediately with Camille beside. Thomas lay unconscious, surrounded by machines, humming. Sophia sobbed, saying doctors couldn't promise anything. Henry held Thomas's hand, whispering, "Please, fight." Hours passed painfully, watching unstable monitors flicker. Thomas woke briefly, whispering Henry's name weakly. He said he wasn't afraid of death. He feared leaving children alone without support. Henry cried, promising lifelong protection for Sophia. Thomas smiled faintly, hearing his assurances lovingly. Doctors suggested moving him home for comfort. They prepared master bedroom with necessary equipment. Henry stayed constantly caring for his father. Sophia read stories sitting beside Thomas daily. Beatrice cooked soups, hoping he'd regain strength. Thomas had brief days of surprising clarity. He spoke individually to each family member. He thanked them for giving life meaning. Each goodbye felt tender, peaceful, heartbreaking simultaneously. His condition worsened slowly, signaling approaching end. One quiet morning, Thomas's breathing grew weaker. Henry sensed the final moments approaching painfully slowly. Sophia held Thomas's hand tightly, trembling uncontrollably. Camille stood nearby, silently wiping falling tears. Beatrice whispered prayers softly from doorway shadows. Thomas's eyes fluttered but didn't fully open. Henry leaned close, telling him they were there. He thanked Thomas again for choosing them. Sophia whispered love and gratitude through broken voice. Thomas took one deep breath, then stilled. Silence filled room, heavy like falling stone. Nurse confirmed he had peacefully passed away. Henry froze, unable to release Thomas's hand. Sophia collapsed, crying loudly into Henry's arms. Camille hugged Henry tightly from behind, sobbing. Beatrice cried openly, hand covering trembling mouth. They grieved together, unable to move for minutes. Eventually, Henry stood shakily, wiping tear-stained face. Practical responsibilities followed despite shattered emotions. Henry arranged funeral details while barely speaking. Sophia couldn't write but stayed close silently. Beatrice prepared house for guests arriving soon. Thomas's ashes were placed inside simple urn. They planned quiet ceremony in backyard garden. Maple trees, shade felt fitting and gentle. Henry searched office for photograph to display. In drawer he found a blue folder. It was labeled, "If the day comes." Inside lay a letter addressed "My kids." Henry carried it outside, heart trembling painfully. Family gathered while he read Thomas's words. Thomas thanked them for choosing him back. He asked them to keep pizza Fridays. He said keep pool noisy during summers. He said library belonged to Sophia someday. He left Henry, Mr. Paul's old watch. He said watch symbolized belief and courage. Car was for both siblings to share. He asked them visit roadside where they met. Signed lovingly as Dad at letter's end. Sophia pressed hand to mouth, sobbing hard. Beatrice cried with grief, only elders understand. Henry held letter close against his chest. Ceremony began with guests filling quiet backyard. People from Thomas's work arrived respectfully grieving. Social workers came remembering early guardianship fight. Teenagers he mentored stood silently in corner. Henry placed urn beneath maple tree roots. He installed bronze plaque reading chosen family. Guests shared stories of Thomas's generous heart. Sophia spoke briefly about someone stopping once. She said family started because someone stopped. Henry felt truth echoed deeply within soul. After ceremony, family sat alone together. Garden felt both empty and strangely full. Grief washed over them in unsteady waves. Nights were hardest, with house feeling incomplete. Henry read Thomas's letter. Whenever sadness overwhelmed, he remembered love lived mostly in ordinary days. 2 weeks later, Camille's voice called gently. She said calmly they needed hospital immediately. Henry rushed, gathering half-packed overnight hospital bag. Sophia barked instructions while Beatrice fetched a Sentinel's car ride. Felt both rushed and endless. Hospital lights flickered softly, welcoming anxious parents. Labor lasted long but remained complication-free. Camille squeezed Henry's hand through each contraction. She made him promise Sunday pancake lessons. Just before dawn, newborn cried loudly, arriving. Henry forgot breathing, seeing perfect tiny boy. He whispered welcome softly, voice shaken gratefully. They named him Thomas Paul, lovingly, proudly. Thomas for father, Paul for guiding mentor. Sophia cried joyfully, saying, baby looked adorable. Beatrice arrived, carrying knitted blankets, lovingly handmade. Baby slept peacefully against Camille's warm chest. That night, Henry sat, holding newborn quietly. Hospital room glowed softly under hallway lights. Baby's breaths warmed Henry's shirt gently, rhythmically. Henry told him stories he'd someday understand. He promised teaching love shown by Thomas. He said baby was wanted from beginning. He said chosen family saved them always. They brought baby home to starry nursery. Sophia painted constellations across walls with pride. Beatrice hovered, adjusting blankets and fixing pillows. Camille cried, seeing nursery finally completed beautifully. House fell whole again, in new way. Henry found watch in Thomas's drawer carefully. He wound it, hearing courage ticking firmly. He wore it, promising living worthy life. Fridays stayed loud with pizza and laughter. Sundays filled with pancakes, syrup, and joy. Baby splashed happily during tiny pool visits. Henry imagined Thomas smiling somewhere, proudly, peacefully. Seasons passed, house echoing warm, gentle routines. Henry learned balancing residency and fatherhood simultaneously. Camille returned to work with steady confidence. Baby Thomas learned crawling, chasing sunlight patterns. Maple tree outside grew greener each spring. Lantern Road Studio gained attention, steadily growing. Sophia flourished, designing children's books elegantly, beautifully. Henry decorated office wall with Sophia's artwork. He displayed drawing of siblings on roadside. Hospital colleagues admired meaningful painting hanging proudly. Baby Thomas learned walking, wobbling toward father. Henry caught him laughing through joyful tears. Even mundane mornings felt sacred and precious. Watch ticked, reminding him of compassionate strength. Time moved forward, gently healing older wounds. Family visited Maple Tree every anniversary, quietly. Some years they spoke, others stayed silent. This year, Tommy carried small glowing lantern. They placed lantern beneath tree respectfully, tenderly. Tommy asked reason behind yearly lantern tradition. Henry answered, "Light finds way through darkness." Boy nodded, though not fully understanding truth. One Sunday, Henry took Tommy to hospital. He showed pediatric wing filled with brave children. He told him about kindness shaping destinies. Tommy listened wide-eyed, holding father's familiar hand. Henry explained names carried love and stories. Tommy repeated his name proudly, understanding responsibilities slowly. Henry smiled, feeling Thomas's spirit guiding gently. Pancake mornings became chaotic with joyful energy. Tommy smeared syrup everywhere, laughing uncontrollably loud. Camille laughed, chasing toddler around messy table. Henry looked around, feeling complete, unexpected happiness. House held echoes of Thomas's laughter always. Beatrice retired, but visited every other weekend. She taught Tommy cookie recipes with patience. Tommy adored baking afternoons with sweet aromas. Henry placed framed letter in main hallway. He added shelf beneath, holding small wooden carp. Tommy played with toys beneath framed letter. He pointed, asking questions about Grandpa Thomas. Henry answered carefully with warm, grateful heart. Years passed, carrying both joy and longing. Lantern Road Studio thrived through constant creativity. Sophia married designer who admired her passion. Wedding held in same garden Thomas loved. Henry gave speech honoring chosen family legacy. Guests cried, hearing emotional journey of siblings. Beatrice danced happily, though slightly offbeat rhythm. Tommy ran around, carrying tiny lantern proudly. House expanded, welcoming new memories and relationships. Families strengthened through every gentle passing season. Henry gained promotion in pediatric cardiology department. His empathy made him respected by colleagues. Camille advanced career, balancing motherhood splendidly well. Tommy started school, energetic, curious, enthusiastic, daily. He showed drawing of road where family began. Teacher displayed it, praising, heartfelt, simple meaning. Henry cried privately, seeing drawing after school. He realized story would continue through generations. Maple trees' branches grew strong and wide. Plaque beneath trunk, aged but still shining. Many evenings Henry sat beneath rustling leaves. He whispered updates, hoping Thomas could hear. Sometimes wind replied like gentle, comforting voice. Tommy grew older, understanding story, gradually, deeply. He felt pride carrying grandfather's meaningful name. Henry ensured he learned kindness above everything. Camille taught patience, while Sophia taught creativity. They blended values into Tommy's character beautifully. House filled with drawings, books, laughter often. Pancake Sundays continued as sacred weekly tradition. Pizza Fridays honored Thomas with loud joy. Watch ticked on Henry's wrist, steadily forever. Time softened grief, turning it into gratitude. Family healed, slowly building hopeful future together. Lantern Road painting remains symbol of beginnings. Hospital hallway painting inspired many struggling families. Tommy asked someday to visit Roadside Place. Henry agreed, smiling warmly at young curiosity. They drove old Rolls-Royce, still running smoothly. They reached familiar dusty road with silence. Henry lifted Tommy, showing exact life-changing spot. He whispered softly, "Here someone chose love." Tommy stared quietly at the empty roadside. Wind carried dust gently across forgotten pavement. Henry knelt beside him, feeling memories rise. He explained everything, began right at this place. Tommy listened carefully, holding father's steady hand. Sun warmed their shoulders with comforting brightness. Henry pointed toward distance, recalling painful childhood moments. He remembered hunger, fear, and uncertain, lonely nights. He remembered Thomas, stopping without hesitation or doubt. Tommy whispered softly, asking why he stopped. Henry answered, "Kindness guides hearts without specific reason. Some people choose compassion over comfortable indifference." Tommy nodded slowly, understanding deeper meaning. Gradually, they stood silently honoring where love started. Henry breathed deeply, letting old pain release. They returned home as evening lights glowed. Camille prepared dinner while humming gentle melody. Sophia arrived, carrying bright flowers for table. Tommy ran indoors, telling entire roadside story. Camille hugged him, saying stories create identity. Henry placed flowers under Thomas's framed photograph. Beatrice joined dinner, laughing at Tommy's excitement. House echoed with comfort, warmth, and familiarity. Later, Henry tucked Tommy into his bed. Tommy asked again about chosen family meaning. Henry said family is built through decisions. Love forms strongest bonds, created through choice. Tommy smiled, drifting toward peaceful childhood dreams. Henry sat quietly, watching him fall asleep. He remembered nights Thomas watched him similarly. Memories softened into gratitude instead of grief. House lights dimmed, leaving warm, peaceful glow. Next morning brought routine with comforting familiarity. Pancake batter sizzled loudly in heated pan. Tommy ran excitedly, grabbing syrup with joy. Camille laughed, cleaning spilled drops from counter. Henry flipped pancakes, thinking about passing time. Life felt complete in quiet, meaningful ways. Later, they visited Maple Tree for reflection. Leaves shimmered golden beneath sunlight's gentle warmth. Tommy placed lantern under tree respectfully again. Henry whispered update about family's recent achievements. Camille held Henry's arm, smiling with pride. Sophia arrived holding new painting of family. She captured Maple Tree beautifully with lantern. Henry hung painting inside hallway beside letter. Visitors paused, always appreciating its emotional depth. Tommy asked, meaning behind paintings, soft background. Sophia said, backgrounds hold memories quietly unspoken. Tommy wondered if every memory shapes people. Henry explained, memories guide hearts toward purpose. Weeks passed, bringing both calmness and change. Tommy started new school year confidently prepared. Teachers adored his kindness and imaginative creativity. Henry noticed Tommy growing compassionate like Thomas. Camille encouraged him during school projects happily. Henry balanced hospital duties with family time. Patients trusted his warm, gentle bedside manner. Nurses appreciated his steady, calm approach. He always wore Thomas's watch during shifts. Watch reminded him, compassion saves countless lives. Tommy visited Henry's hospital sometimes after classes. Children's wing brightened whenever Tommy entered, smiling. Doctors joked he already looked like pediatrician. Henry felt proud seeing son comfort others. One evening, rain tapped gently on windows. Family gathered in living room for stories. Tommy asked Henry to tell first memory. Henry described meeting Sophia at birth moment. Tommy listened, amazement shining in bright eyes. He asked if newborn siblings feel connected. Henry said connection grows as trust builds. Tommy rested, head against Henry, feeling closeness. Camille smiled, watching both with warm affection. Sophia read poetry, softly filling calm room. Words flowed smoothly, like rain hitting earth. Henry felt peace, knowing family was thriving. Days passed, blending into months, gracefully, quietly. Lantern Road Studio expanded, gaining international recognition. Sophia collaborated with hospitals to design murals. Her art soothed children undergoing difficult treatments. Henry admired her dedication and genuine compassion. Tommy helped paint small corners, enthusiastically learning technique. Camille managed exhibitions, building strong artistic community. Families supported each milestone, cheering with pride. Seasons turned gradually, painting world in colors. Winter brought snowflakes drifting across quiet streets. Henry carried Tommy outside for playful snowballing. Laughter echoed through yard under sparkling snowfall. Camille recorded moments capturing pure childhood joy. Sophia built lantern-shaped snow sculpture beside tree. They ended night drinking hot cocoa together. Henry thought about Thomas watching over them. He whispered thanks for creating this home. Tommy asked, "Who?" Henry whispered too quietly. Henry smiled, saying, "Memories keep guiding us." Spring arrived, filling air with blooming freshness. Maple leaves shimmered brighter under warm sunlight. Tommy played outside chasing butterflies, cheerfully free. Henry rested on porch, thinking about life. He felt gratitude overflowing every passing moment. Sophia brought sketchbook drawing Tommy's playful energy. Camille watered flowers, humming peaceful, familiar tune. House felt alive through every season. Again, Henry worked hospital night shifts with renewed strength. He remembered Thomas carrying heavy responsibilities alone. Henry vowed, never leaving family unsupported, ever. Tommy asked about responsibility one evening curiously. Henry explained, responsibility means protecting chosen people. Tommy promised protecting family, always like father. Henry hugged him, touched by sincere little heart. Months continued shaping Tommy's character with kindness. Teachers praised him for empathy and honesty. Henry saw familiar spark he once carried. Camille nurtured his intellectual curiosity patiently daily. Tommy developed love for astronomy and science. He asked questions about stars during dinners. Henry explained constellations using childhood lantern stories. Tommy imagined guiding lanterns glowing above sky. Camille encouraged writing stories inspired by stars. Sophia illustrated first book based on idea. They published children's story, receiving beautiful, warm feedback. Tommy felt proud, holding printed books, smiling. Henry celebrated by cooking special pancake-shaped stars. Camille organized library reading for neighborhood kids. Evening filled with laughter, books, and cookies. Henry cherished moments, building new memories again. House gradually transformed into creative, loving home. Maple tree outside grew taller each year. Lantern plaque weathered, but remained beautifully visible. Family visited tree on meaningful milestones yearly. Tommy placed lantern gently, understanding its significance. Henry whispered updates, feeling breeze brush gently. Camille held his hand during emotional moments. Sophia painted new mural inspired by legacy. Mural showed road, maple tree, glowing lantern. Hospital patients loved murals, soft, comforting colors. Henry hung small copy inside his office. He told colleagues story whenever asked curiously. Tommy listened proudly whenever fathers shared history. Years passed, shaping Tommy into thoughtful teenager. He aimed studying medicine like Henry. Someday Henry supported dream with deep emotional pride. Camille helped prepare academic materials and plans. Sophia advised embracing creativity alongside scientific discipline. Tommy practiced kindness daily, reflecting family teachings. Henry felt Thomas's influence living through everything. Nights ended with warm discussions over tea. House glowed peacefully with shared, gentle harmony. One evening, Tommy asked important, serious question. What changed your life more than anything? Henry answered softly, being chosen saved everything. Tommy felt weight his story shaping future. He promised honoring legacy through kindness always. Henry smiled, knowing cycle of love continued. Families sat around fireplace listening to wind. Wind rustled maple leaves outside, gently whispering. Tommy believed whispers sounded like Thomas's blessing. Henry closed eyes, imagining father smiling proudly. Camille rested head on Henry's shoulder quietly. Sophia sketched scene into small, heartfelt drawing. She titled drawing, Legacy of Chosen Love. Henry framed drawing, placing it near letter. Hallway displayed family's journey through artwork beautifully. Tommy admired frames, understanding story more deeply. House carried echoes of past and present. Family stood strong through every rising challenge. Love shaped foundation, guiding them toward tomorrow. Henry realized happiness lived in simple moments. Tommy realized love creates strongest families ever. Camille realized home builds through shared devotion. Sophia realized art preserves memories tenderly forever. Beatrice visited, smiling at family's growth proudly. She blessed Tommy, saying kindness made him special. Maple tree outside glowed beneath evening lantern. House radiated peace under soft, calming moonlight. Henry whispered, "Thank you," toward shimmering sky. Tommy repeated words, feeling connection growing stronger. Their story continued shining through generations beautifully. Subscribe for more heart-touching emotional stories.